U.S. Democratic presidential nominee Kamala Harris and her newly selected vice presidential running mate, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, campaigned for the first time together on Tuesday in Philadelphia.
They kicked off a multi-day tour of battleground states aimed at introducing Walz to the national stage. Well, Harris's campaign said that it raised more than $20 million in the hours after she announced Walz as her vice presidential pick.
A promise of freedom, opportunity, and justice, not just for some, but for all. So, Pennsylvania, I'm here today because I found such a leader. Governor Tim Walz of the great state of Minnesota.
In his remarks to a crowd of more than 10,000 at Temple University, Walz described his upbringing in a small Nebraska town. His 24 years serving in the Army National Guard and his prior career as a high school social studies teacher and also a football coach.
I couldn't be prouder to be on this ticket and to help Vice President Harris become what we all know is very, very good for us to think about. Next President of the United States of America.
President Joe Biden called the selection of Minnesota Governor Tim Walz as Kamala Harris's running mate a, quote, great decision. Voters, political analysts, and opponents are also weighing in on the progressive policy champion being added to the Democratic ticket. New York University professor of politics Patrick Egan says the choice sets up a contest with two different sets of candidates on either end of the political spectrum.
It's a very progressive ticket against a very conservative ticket. And so what we're seeing here is more evidence of the immense polarization of American politics, that neither candidate really felt like they needed to reach in a direction toward moderate voters in terms of their running mates' policies and priorities.
That's okay with this Pennsylvania resident.
I like the choice. I think Tim Walz has a great record in Minnesota as like doing progressive/left ideas. That would be kind of ideal to see on a national stage between marijuana, criminal justice reform, and doing all things with a very small majority in Minnesota, which he'll probably have in Congress as well.
The plain speaker from America's heartland displayed a conservative bent while representing a rural district in the U.S. House of Representatives for 12 years, before he was elected as Minnesota's governor in 2018. Professor Egan says that may help balance the ticket.
Perhaps one of Walz's strengths is that he can speak to the kind of voter that was not particularly drawn to Hillary Clinton in 2016, but evidently swung back toward Joe Biden in 2020, which is an older, white, moderate voter, which Biden did pretty well with in the upper Midwest and the upper tier of New York State, for example. So by style, this guy could be appealing to that kind of voter for the same kind of reasons that the style of Joe Biden was appealing to that voter as well.
That's a sentiment shared by this Philadelphia voter who was disappointed Josh Shapiro, the Jewish governor of his home state of Pennsylvania, wasn't selected.
I think it would have made a great statement to have two people representing minority populations. But, in the times we live in, I get it that picking another semi-old but not too old white guy is what might appeal to some undecided people, and maybe even some never Trumpers as well.
Republican candidate Donald Trump's running mate J.D. Vance has also weighed in, criticizing the choice as radical when he spoke to reporters on his campaign plane.
My view on it is it just highlights how radical Kamala Harris is. This is a person who listened to the Hamas wing of her own party and selecting a nominee.
Democrats hope the popular Midwestern politician will help them in nearby Wisconsin and Michigan, two crucial battleground states.
And from WION This, our correspondent Susan Tehrani elaborates on the significance of Vice President Kamala Harris's introducing Governor Tim Walz as her running mate in Philadelphia. Take a listen.
The introduction of Tim Walz as Vice President Kamala Harris's running mate in Philadelphia marks a significant moment in the Democratic campaign. First and foremost, it shows a united front and aims to create excitement among Democrats for this new ticket. The event raised over $20 million in just a few hours, demonstrating strong support. Now, Walz's folksy personality is appealing to some voters. However, his progressive policies may turn off middle-of-the-road Democrat voters. Republicans are already branding him as being a quote-unquote San Francisco-style liberal like Kamala Harris.
Susan further tells us about Governor Tim Walz's record alignment with the Democratic Party and the potential implications of the Democrats' campaign now.
Tim Walz's record as a liberal governor of Minnesota aligns well with the Democratic Party's platform on several issues. First of all, he has enacted policies like free college tuition, legal recreational marijuana, and protection for transgender people. However, his response to the George Floyd protests in his state and his stance on public safety will be used by Republicans to attack him as being way too liberal. Nonetheless, his strong liberal views will likely attract young Democratic voters. The campaign will ultimately have to balance Walz's strengths to mitigate his vulnerabilities.